Welcome, everybody, to episode 4 of the Lights Up Show. I am your host, Andrew. I make the show Midori, and I will be guiding you through the month's biggest news in movies and television. That includes discussion on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Godzilla vs. Kong, and a whole lot more. If you enjoy the show at any point, be sure to hit that heart button here at twitch.tv/The Level Up Show so you never miss new episodes of Lights Up on the first Saturday of every month. All episodes will be archived on YouTube at youtube.com/The Level Up Network, so be sure to subscribe there. And lastly, Lights Up Night isn't just about the talk show. Every episode is followed up by a live Discord watch along on discord.gg/The Level Up Network. Tonight we will be doing a drunk watch along of B Movie. On top of that, Discord also allows you to suggest movies and TV series watch-alongs for the future and to take part in our interactive segment in the Spotlight, which we will get to a little bit later on. Also want to remind you guys that Season 2 has begun. You guys are accumulating SP. Everything has been refreshed down to 0. That includes SP, hours, rank, all of that is back down to the starting point for the most part. You guys already got a little bit on the last stream, but it's pretty much reset for most of you. So start working towards becoming the top spot on Season 2. And also don't forget, we have a couple of new segments in Season 2, and that includes Clip Contest. So start taking advantage of that. Clip the show if you think it's something worthy of it. Try and get yourself 5,000 seasonal points awarded to you each month. That will happen. We'll be deciding the top clip of the month. You can post that on our Discord as well in the Clip Contest channel. I do recommend not just using the clip command. Go in, finesse your clip, crop it, make sure to title it something clever, then post it to our Discord. That will give you a better shot at winning each month. We got Rick in the room. We got B Duke. we got Empyrean Rose. Razor is here. Mel, did I say Mel? Mel's here. King Kurt is here. Got a lot of people in the room already. 11 people in here. Share that show, please. Twitter, Facebook, Discord, wherever you possibly can. Share it around. Let's see how many people we can get in here tonight. We're still trying to grow Lights Up into a staple of the Level Up Network and the Level Up Show channel, and we need your help to do that by bringing in your friends. Tell your friends, you guys. How are we all doing tonight? Hope everybody's having an amazing week. Like I said, there's a lot to talk about, and I don't really want to waste too much time since we did start late, and we do have a watch along after this. We'll have to find a drinking game for the watch along, by the way. I have not yet searched for a drinking game for B Movie, but based on everything you guys are saying about B Movie in Discord and in the chat, how it's pretty much a meme at this point, I have to imagine we're not going to have too much of an issue finding a drinking game for B Movie. If anybody wants to start doing searches now, feel free to. I'm open to suggestions on drinking games following the show. All right, first up, we're going to get into how you reviewing. That is our moment to take a look at what has released over the past month, either in theaters or on streaming services. I've watched a few things this month, and I'm excited to go through them. We're actually going to go to one of the big ones right off the bat. I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to jump into Zack Snyder's Justice League. Long time coming. Talk about, God, a meme bringing something to life. This movie only exists because of a meme. I really honestly never thought it would happen, but now that it has, before talking about the quality of it or how I ultimately felt about the movie, I'm happy that it happened in a lot of ways. I don't like that it has sort of started a precedent, and you can already see it continuing now with the Restore the Snyder Cut hashtag, and people just keep taking it further and further. But I am happy that Snyder got his opportunity to reveal his version, his vision of Justice League, and to have some sort of closure over this whole entire 3-4 year long process. And from everything I've heard, we talked about it in the last episode, everything I've heard about Zack Snyder as a person is positive. Everybody seems to be really happy to work with him. He seems to be a pleasure in that way. And you can't really fault him for his passion. He does have artistic integrity. I think you can see that in the Snyder Cut and the decisions that he made. Some of them I do think are self-indulgent. I'll get right to it with the 4:3. It's not even 4:3. Whatever the IMAX ratio is, I think that was very self-indulgent. And since that is like the first thing you see, it's jarring, and I never got over it personally. The entire movie I was just watching, feeling like, what am I gaining out of this? I'm not gaining anything. I'm not watching this in IMAX. What am I gaining out of this? I know technically you are giving me more vertical. You are giving me more at the top and bottom of the screen. I understand that. That's the point of IMAX. But here's the thing. When anybody, whether it be Zack Snyder or Christopher Nolan, when they are shooting these films, when they are composing these films and the shots for IMAX, they are going into that knowing that most people will watch this movie in a 16:9 format. And for that reason, when they compose their shot, they do not put essential priority material, content, whatever you want to call it, of the image in the very top or the very bottom. So that when they do crop it for 16:9, it is giving you everything you need. And I would have preferred this be cropped 16:9, knowing that, and giving me at home, not the theater experience or the IMAX experience, me at home, the full screen. I would have much preferred that in this situation. That being said, it's no reason, I think, to detract points from the movie or stars from the movie. It's just something that I will say bothered me, and I don't think it was worth it. And it's immediately a sign of what Snyder was going for with this cut. He took no money, as we talked about last month. He took no profits on top of his original version of Justice League from this Snyder cut. In order to do that, the reason he did that, I should say, is so that he had final cut. He had final say. He could ultimately say, I will do whatever the heck I want for artistic integrity, and you cannot fight me on that because I'm not getting paid. And that was the contractual deal that was made there. And right off the bat, this was the first sign of that. But really, the entire movie is, for better and worse, self-indulgent. That is the first word or words that come to mind when I think of Zack Snyder's Justice League. It is just nothing left on the cutting room floor. Literally nothing. I feel like every single minute of footage that he shot for this movie back in 2016 or whatever, he pretty much found a way to stuff into his version. And I think in a lot of ways it's great. I mean, it's cool to see the full story of Cyborg. That is probably the best addition. I think a lot of people would agree that the best addition to the Snyder Cut is the Cyborg storyline. He actually has a purpose now. He actually has meaning. He actually has character. He's actually on screen more than like a handful of minutes. In the original, it's just like, why is this person even here? And I talked about on the last show, I kind of understand why they cut it out. Like, you can't release a 4-hour movie in theaters, and he's the character that people didn't know, unfortunately. And you know, the WB executives and those types of people are going to be like, no, we got to cut out the people, the character that nobody knows. So it kind of makes sense that he was cut. But really, I think the optimal scenario would have been, prior to Justice League, give him his own movie to set up like his origin. How did he become Cyborg? His relationship with his father, set up all that. And then everything that is essential to the Cyborg storyline in Justice League, keep in there. But they could have cut out like 30 minutes from Justice League Snyder Cut by giving Cyborg his own movie prior to this. And I do think that would have been the way to go, because I do think the movie's too long. I do think that 4 hours and 2 minutes was almost an hour too long for the Snyder Cut. And there's multiple reasons for that. Cyborg, needed to be added in there. Did there need to be 10% of the movie in slow-mo? Probably not. I don't think so. I don't think 10% of the movie needed to be in slow-mo. I don't think I needed to see Lois Lane put down her coffee cup in slow motion. I don't think I gained anything out of that. There are a lot of scenes that were badass, visually beautiful, and emphasized by the slow motion. I think in particular, a Flash scene, which we'll talk about at the end, was so cool because of the slow motion. I mean, you can't take that away from Snyder. The guy has a visual touch that is his. You can recognize Snyder, not just because of slow-mo, but you can recognize Snyder, and he does have great composition. He does have great cinematography. He has a mind for this kind of thing, for action and gravitas. Like he definitely has an eye for that kind of thing, and it shows throughout this film. It is a much better movie than Justice League in the action department, I would say. How he handles the Amazons on screen right now, I think is really, really great. They're some of the best stuff in Justice League. And the women are just so badass. He knows how to show that. He really does. And I appreciate it. I really do. You don't get to see badass women like the Amazons very often in film. I mean, just look at that woman, man, jacked, just slamming her sledgehammer into that, and now they're holding up the store. It's a great moment. This entire sequence is great, and I would say it's like a good 10 minutes longer than Joss Whedon's version with Steppenwolf. Let's talk about Steppenwolf actually. Another, I think, pretty strong improvement over the original, not just because of the design, which sucked in Justice League. I think his design in this is much more intimidating. His voice is much more intimidating, but really his purpose is stronger in this one. I think him being somebody that's sort of been excommunicated from whatever Darkseid's Legion is, and now trying to get back in his good graces, trying to prove himself to Darkseid, I thought was a better turn and a better motivation for him as the villain. And I felt every time he was on screen in a sort of Thanos kind of way, I felt like, oh man, like this, you do not want to mess with this guy. Like he's intimidating from a physical standpoint every time he is on screen. I think the Amazon scene especially showed that right off the bat because of how many of them were working together to try and overcome his power, and they still couldn't do it. Now, even though I did like the motivation, it got a little bit redundant, I guess would be the word. By the end, him consistently going back to upper management, like, I've got another mother box. And like, another 3 minutes scene of him talking. That's kind of the same thing over and over again. I got another mother box. I can smell this one. They can smell this one. I'm sending the freaking whatever, the bugs to find it. Like, it's just like the same thing over and over again. By like the fourth time of him talking to upper management, I was a little bit like, all right, we get it. Like, this is getting a little bit, I don't need to see this anymore. I'm just like, I know the information. I know what we're going for. So that it did get a little bit overdone, I think, by the end of it. But overall, an improvement when it comes to Steppenwolf. I think before I get back to some good, I want to go to some bad, but it's not really as a part of this movie in particular. I think one of the reasons that ultimately Snyder Cut does not connect with me in a major way, and I still don't think it's a fantastic film, is because they have not done the work with the DC Extended Universe to make me care about these characters that much. I just don't really care about them. I don't care about their stories. I don't feel connected to the performances, really. I really don't like Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. I think he's good as Batman, but I really don't like Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. I'm not a big fan of Ezra Miller as Barry. I'm not really that keen on Jason Momoa as Aquaman. And even Gal Gadot, who I think when she is sort of working with the right people can work just fine. I think her with Chris Pine works really well in Wonder Woman. But when it's just her and certain lines from her especially, she's not a very good actress. She looks great as Wonder Woman, but she's really not a very good actress. And I think all that together, I like Ray Fisher as Cyborg. He does a great job, but all that together, I can't connect to these characters. I can't connect to the story for that reason. And it really is a bummer because they tried to rush it, obviously, right? They've been trying to catch up to MCU for such a long time, and it's just not possible, I don't think. We're going to talk about that later on because there's a story that came out this week, but I don't think they should have tried in the way they did. They obviously rushed it in such a great way. They didn't give Cyborg his own film, as we talked about. They didn't take the time to set up this universe in a way where we cared about these characters in the way we should have for Justice League, for this culmination. All of them coming together for this enormous threat that is Steppenwolf and ultimately Darkseid. Like by the time we got to that moment, we should have cared a lot more about these characters, and they never really gave that to us. For God's sakes, like Aquaman didn't even happen like it's his own solo film until after Justice League, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Wonder Woman did, I think. Wonder Woman had, yeah, it was Batman v Superman, then Wonder Woman, then Justice League. So Wonder Woman at least had her own movie, but Aquaman never had his own movie. Cyborg obviously never had his own movie. Batman technically never had his own movie. He had Batman v Superman, but he never had his own movie. Like, they didn't take the time. They all should have had solo films, in my opinion, before they went to Justice League. That's kind of outside the point. That's like water under the bridge almost in a way. So I don't want to harp too much on that, but that's one of the reasons that I just didn't connect with this movie, is I didn't feel that they spent the time necessary for me to have that connection. They have better character moments in this, but it's not enough. It isn't enough, but they do have better character moments. You're 100% right. They really do. I think all of them really do. I'm trying to think. The one that doesn't actually is Batman. You just said it. You just said in the chat. Batman is the one that doesn't have it. And that sucks for somebody like me, where Batman is my favorite hero of all time. MCU or DCU. Like, Batman is my favorite hero of all time. And he really doesn't have much of a point in this. Like, they try and make him into like the leader that gets everybody together, but he doesn't really feel like a leader to me, honestly, from Ben Affleck's performance. And like, what is he given? Like, he creates, like, he builds like an airplane or some type of aircraft, but like, otherwise, like, what is he doing in this movie? Really, he doesn't really hold his own. The ones that do are obviously Superman, who we'll get to in a little bit, and Barry as Flash has a really, really great moment at the end, and Cyborg. And Cyborg has a really great moment and a really pivotal moment in order to succeed against Steppenwolf in the end. The scene added with Flash, with the slow down car and the wiener, and that, I didn't need that scene. I really didn't need that scene. I think it was kind of creepy in a way, him touching the wiener while looking at her with a smile, creepily, everything again in slow motion. That didn't really work with me. That was an unnecessary scene for me. Did Wonder Woman? Wonder Woman had an extended scene at the beginning, which is a really great action scene, but did she need to blow out the entire side of that building? Like, I feel like she put a lot of people in danger doing that. Like, she obviously has super speed. She's like using her wrist guards to block every single bullet. And then the guy's slow motion about to point a gun at her. And she's like, you know what? The only choice I have here in this building full of children with all of this artistic history, the only choice I have is to make an enormous explosion and kill this guy. I was like, that did not seem necessary to me. No, not at all. Another unnecessary scene. Thank you, Rick. The Nordic singing. Like, why? Like, what was the point of the Nordic singing? And the girls sniffing Aquaman's clothes. Like, what was the point of that scene? Like, really, this movie did not need to be 4 hours long. I really think that Snyder could have put out like a 3-hour version of this, because the epilogue with all the nightmare stuff, I'm just gonna say it right now, I hated that. The nightmare stuff was awful. That was garbage fan fiction stuff. So cut all that out. Just have the stuff that is essential to the epilogue, that shows the characters right after their success, which is what, only like 5 minutes. Keep that. But you can cut out 15 minutes of nightmare right there. And if you cut out some slow-mo, cut out the Aquaman singing, you cut out the Flash saving Iris, who you never see again. If you cut out a couple more moments, you really could have gotten this movie down to 3 hours. I really do think that. This did not need to be 4 hours long. So again, back to self-indulgent. This movie was self-indulgent in so many ways. Let's get to the best here. The first half is, I'm just to say, like, just in general, a little slow. I feel like that's where they really could have tightened it up. But where the movie really is fantastic is that final act. Zack Snyder improved upon the action and the intensity and everything, the epicness of everything in that final act. That was a really, really great battle. Specifically, Barry slowing down time, them failing, of course, slowing down time and making that run energizing Cyborg and giving them that moment to succeed. That was just so cool. The music there is great. Everything kind of leads up to that moment. I thought that was a great build up. One thing that was built up a lot throughout the film, but it kind of bothers me in a way, is Superman. I just, and maybe this is just a problem I have with the character, but do we really even need the Justice League? The way this film depicts everything, you don't. The only person you need is Superman. He is that OP that you really don't need anybody else. The way he comes in, everybody is like struggling for their life to beat Steppenwolf. Nobody is really standing a chance. All 5 of them combined, all 6 of them combined, whatever. They don't stand a chance against Steppenwolf. He is manhandling them for the most part. And then Superman comes in, takes an axe to the shoulder. He's like, really? That's all you got? Ice breath, break axe, and then literally pummel Steppenwolf into the ground viciously and graphically. Use your heat vision to cut him apart, cut off his horn, and then just continue to pummel him into the ground. Like he's a complete and utter scrub. Exactly. And all I could think in that scene was, like, everything else now feels pointless because of Superman. He's just too powerful. Now, I would like to see him against Darkseid. I would. Because in this film, that's just all it felt like to me. It's like all this buildup, everything, all this fight against Steppenwolf was all resolved from a battle standpoint, a physical altercation standpoint, by Superman in seconds. The moment he showed up, it was like all the intensity is gone. Like he stands no chance. And that's just really a problem I have with Superman in general. I mean, he did die. Yeah, I mean, he did against Doomsday. I guess that's true. But in this movie, I think specifically, it just kind of took everything away for me when that happened. It was badass. Don't get me wrong. The music's great. I love Hans Zimmer's score coming into focus in that scene when he arrives. But afterwards, I was just like, really? After all that, he just like pummels him into the ground. He has no problem whatsoever. It's just sort of anticlimactic in a way that I don't really enjoy. And I think, you know, him losing to not to Darkseid, to Doomsday, as you said, King Kurt, is great. I like seeing Superman struggle, and I think seeing him struggle against Darkseid in a future film would have been kind of cool. And we'll talk about that later on. But let's wrap this up. As you guys can see, I did enjoy it more than Whedon's Justice League. I think it's improved in ways. I also think it's a little bit worse in ways. I think it's too long. I think the pacing of Whedon's cut is kind of nice. It moves, man. That movie moves very fast. This is slow for a lot of it and could have been tightened up in a major way. Another thing that I have to say I kind of appreciated about Whedon's cut, and it's not a lot. I'm just going to say a couple things. The one thing I appreciate about Whedon's cut was the focus on the loss of Superman. I think the loss of hope and the loss of positivity and what Superman represents, which in Whedon's version is more true to Superman from the comics to me. And granted, I don't really like Superman that much, but I think that Whedon, in a lot of ways, got him right more than Snyder did. From the very beginning, it's a laughable scene because of the mustache being removed, but Superman at the start of Justice League, that's kind of the Superman that I imagine. That's the hopeful, positive representation that I imagine for Superman. You lost a lot of that in Snyder's cut, I think. I appreciated the scenes between Martha, which wasn't actually Martha, which I think is kind of dumb, and Lois. I appreciated those scenes, and I did like the scene in the cornfield with them all coming together and hugging. I enjoyed that, but there are a couple things that I actually did appreciate more about Whedon's cut. Not a lot. I think the epilogue was actually really cool up until Nightmare in Snyder's cut. I really liked seeing all those little final moments, and I appreciated some of the setup for Nightmare outside of the epilogue. Like, I think Bruce Wayne had a had a dream at one point, right, where he saw Superman like kneeling over Lois's dead body. I liked those allusions to a future that is awful. I think they went too far with it with Nightmare and the epilogue, but I did like some of that, and it does make me kind of curious to see what it all would have been like if we got the full Snyder verse Justice League trilogy or whatever it was supposed to be. I think it, there's some curiosity there. I do understand why this has riled some people up wanting to see that. I wouldn't want it to take away from other things. I almost wish there was like a Snyderverse and then, Robert Pattinson and all that on the side, like its own thing. I almost wish there was two things going simultaneously, so I didn't just have Snyderverse, because I don't want that. I don't want it to just be Snyderverse. I do want other things, but I do get the curiosity from a certain standpoint. So to wrap things up, I did like it more. Do I think it was worth a 4-year campaign of, release the Snyder Cut? No. I don't think it was that much better than Whedon's cut. But then at the same time, I didn't think Whedon's cut was that bad. Like, I didn't think it was good. I would give it like 2 out of 5 stars. Like around there. I would give it like 2 out of 5. It wasn't awful. It was very meh in so many ways. This one is better, like considerably better, but it's still not a great superhero film, in my opinion. It has too many flaws. It has too many weird, awkward things going on, slow pacing at certain points. And I think if I had to give a score, I want to give it what ultimately is positive. I want to say it's positive, but kind of like on that edge, which is why I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars. If I was putting this on Rotten Tomatoes, I would say, hey, Rotten Tomatoes, put it in the positive category. But it would be right on that edge. It would be a 3 out of 5. So congratulations. I mean, honestly, that's a success in my opinion. And it being better and it being now a positive movie, I think is a success. Because really taking all this shit and putting it all together the way they did, for it to be anything good at all, I think is kind of miraculous. So congratulations to Snyder for getting it done, for achieving your vision and putting some closure on this thing. Would you say the DCEU is done as far as culminating into an endgame type finish? We will talk about that in a little bit. I personally would like HBO Max to continue on the stream service. I wouldn't be against that, B-Duke. Yeah, make it a streaming service universe. that wouldn't be bad. The Flash scene though, pretty. Yep. Cyborg's last moment was nice. I agree with that for sure. Irons as Alfred was lovely. I think Irons as Alfred has a lot of potential. It just wasn't utilized. I think all the stuff between him and Affleck as Bruce, I don't care. I think Simmons could be a great Gordon. Same thing. I don't care. No execution, no achieving his potential, in my opinion. All that is forgettable. Don't want to step on your toes. Yeah, don't step on my toes, because that is actually an important story coming up a little bit later on. Right now, let's move on, because we spent much longer on that than I wanted to. Let's move on to our second film in review, also on HBO Max. I wrote it down as Kong versus Godzilla, but it actually is Godzilla versus Kong. Also, just so you guys can vote in the chat, what did you guys think of Justice League? Give me a rating, please, from 1 to 5 stars. Kong versus Godzilla. This was a fun movie, you guys. It was. It really was a lot of fun. It suffers the same problems that all of these monster movies do, and that is a human story that is just so mind-numbingly bad. It's just worthless, and the entire time makes me wish that they just completely removed it. Like, it shouldn't be there. That's how I felt a lot of the first half of this movie, when it was focused specifically on Maddie, played by Millie Bobby Brown. On her story, holy God, was it meaningless and dumb and clearly cut apart. Like, I think they cut parts of it from the film to tighten it up, and I'm glad they did, but they should have just cut the entire thing. And it culminates in something completely ridiculous, which I won't spoil, but it's just so bad. But let's just get to the good right off the bat. Everything, literally everything involving Kong and Godzilla is awesome. It is exactly what it should be. And Adam Wingard, who directed this, I love what he did by showing a lot of it in the daylight, as you can see on screen right now. It made the action so much more coherent and badass. And even at home on my living room TV, I was stunned visually by this movie. This is a gorgeous looking film. From a CGI standpoint, especially. Like, holy crap, does this movie look good. Especially as you get to the final act. I kind of wish that the entire movie was from the perspective of Kong. He is the hero of this movie, without a doubt. He is the focal point. He is the hero. Godzilla, to a certain extent, is a villain, but not entirely. It's more just like, hey, there's somebody bigger than me. I must prove myself. It's kind of like ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But these movies are ridiculous. Kong, though, like he can do sign language. He's talking with a little girl. I feel like they should have focused on that throughout the entire film. Though that human story wasn't bad. The little girl, her mother, or, surrogate mother, and Kong, that wasn't bad. Focus on that and have it from the point of view of Kong. And I don't want to spoil too much, but the journey into Middle Earth, Inner Earth, Hollow Earth, whatever you want to call it, that was really cool from a sci-fi perspective, because this movie is freaking out there. I didn't expect it to be so out there from a sci-fi perspective. It is freaking wonky, and it gets into some weird stuff. And the visuals, the technology, all that, I was like, this is not what I expected. This is so not grounded in any way. Like, Godzilla 2014 was mostly grounded. Skull Island is mostly grounded in that it takes place in the past, so it doesn't have futuristic tech stuff. This one was really crazy tech stuff. It was like Tron with weird neon colors all over the place. And it was really wild. But the Inner Earth, Hollow Earth stuff was so far above and beyond where I thought they would go. But I thought it was really kind of crazy cool and visually impressive. So that stuff was great. Everything surrounding Kong. And really, I think you should watch this movie for the last 30 minutes alone. Everything involving this stuff right here up on screen. Holy crap, man. This battle was wild. And even though it's not in the daylight, it's so coherent. Everything works. He did a great job directing the shit out of this scene and having great choreography between the monsters. It's lit just enough. All the colors, really colorful. Just badass, man. And it made me actually believe that Kong could stand a chance against Godzilla, something that I never thought I would feel prior to this movie. I was when I saw the trailer, I was like, this is ridiculous. He's a freaking nuclear reptile. And he's facing off against a monkey. This is dumb. And I know it's supposed to be dumb, but still, I'm supposed to believe that this giant ape can beat Godzilla? Yeah, they actually make it work, man. They actually really make it work. So I'm going to end off just saying, yes, watch this movie, guys. It's a lot of fun. Don't go into it with high expectations when it comes to the human stuff. Leave your brain at the door without a doubt. And maybe even skip over the Millie Bobby Brown stuff. You don't need it. You can just skip right over it. It's worthless. It's dumb. Cut this movie down to 1 hour. Focus on the monster stuff, the Inner Earth stuff. And it's freaking a lot of fun. That being said, I do have to deduct some points for a pretty lackluster first half focusing on Millie Bobby Brown's story. If it was all to the quality of the final act, I would probably give this 4 out of 5 stars. But because of the downside of the humans, I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars, you guys. Very solid movie. A lot of fun. Check it out. All right. Moving on. We're going to go over to television. And we're not going to go to Falcon and Winter Soldier just yet. We're going to save that for last. I'm going to do a quick review here of a season of television that has been around for years now that I just finally got around to watching on Netflix. And I plan on watching season 2 and season 3 as well. It's called The Sinner. It's based on supposedly a critically acclaimed book that I do not know about because I don't read. But it stars Jessica Biel, who's also a producer on the show, and Bill Pullman as a detective. And even though this is kind of a spoiler, and I almost wish I could not tell you guys this, it's hard not to because you can see it on screen right now. The twist of this show is that it's not a whodunit, it's more like a whydunit. Jessica Biel seems to be a well put together mother, wife. You can sense that maybe she's having some problems in her marriage with her husband, and there's definitely a distance there, and she seems to have maybe a little bit of depression going on. She's taking pills at the beginning, but you know, she seems pretty well put together at the start, which is why it's a shock about 10 minutes into the first episode that she's at the beach with her husband and her children, and out of nowhere runs over to this young couple sort of making out on the beach and starts graphically stabbing the man over and over and over again, like 7 times in the chest, neck, and face with a knife. It's graphic, and it's out of nowhere, and there's no reason for it at that moment. You have no idea why it happened. And that's the whole point. It's a little bit of a slow burn, about 8 episodes long, and it really is just about figuring out like what happened to this woman, what is going on here that pushed her to do it, because even she doesn't understand. She doesn't know why she did it in that moment. She can't explain it. All she says is they were playing the music too loud. And it's a really intriguing mystery that I was gripped by the whole season through. And even though I will tell you, I don't want to spoil anything, and I hope this isn't a spoiler to allude to this, even though I thought I had it figured out from the very beginning, I did not have it figured out. They make you think. They make you think so hard that it's like, oh, well, yeah, I got this. I know what happened here. I understand what happened. And then the last couple episodes happen, and it just, it is partially what you expected, but it completely changes the perspective in all of it. Everything is in a different light, from a different angle, and it completely changes the way you look at all of it. And it's really very impressive, in my opinion, how it all came together. I thought this was a great show, a really great show, that I am going to continue now. I'm going to watch season 2. I'm going to watch season 3, because I've heard season 2 is even better than season 1. Season 3 seems to be the less liked season, but I have a feeling that's because of politics. It's like got like a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes from the users, but it's got like an 88% from the critics. And whenever that happens, it's usually because of LGBTQ or, oh my God, like it's too focused on social justice or something like that. Some ridiculous, dumb reason like that. So I might like season 3 a whole lot, considering that. I'll have to wait and see. But season 1, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 stars, you guys. 4.5 out of 5 stars for season 1. I really, really like this show a lot. And I don't want to talk about it too much because I do think it's one that you need to watch on your own. I don't want to spoil any of the mystery, any of the twists and turns. Just watch it. Check it out if you haven't yet. Yes, wow, right? Wow. Trooper, thank you so much for the sub. Coming to term. 9
Good morning,
months.
everyone. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you. Let me turn off alerts, just so we don't have to worry about any sounds coming through. But thank you so much for that resub of 9 months. High praise. Yes. I really, really did like it. I hope you guys check it out. One thing I didn't put in the chat, and I'll be curious, I know some of you did watch it. Let me know, how did you feel about Kong versus Godzilla? Leftovers would get a 5, yeah. They were talking about the series as a whole. Leftovers would get a 5. Yes. I haven't given anything a 5 on here yet, I don't think. Right? I don't think I've given anything a 5 on Lights Up. So still waiting for that to happen. But if the Leftovers were on and I was watching that and I just finished season 3, yes, the Leftovers would have gotten a 5. Doesn't happen often. I'm when it comes to movies and television, you guys will see I'm going to be very stingy about giving out 5 stars. It's not going to happen often. It doesn't mean that any of these things are not absolutely fantastic, but 5 stars in movies and television is like top class masterpiece, going to stay with me for a very, very long time. All right, moving on to the one you guys are waiting for. One of the ones you guys are waiting for. Unfortunately, I did not get to watch episode 3 yet, but guess what, you guys? We're not going to go straight to B movie in the watch along. I am going to watch the 3rd episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier to start the watch along tonight. So if you don't want to watch episode 3, that's fine. You can kind of wait until after we watch that episode, and I will post on Discord to let you guys know when we move on to B movie. But we are going to start with the 3rd episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier tonight for the watch along. But let's talk about those first 2 episodes. Where do I even start? action set piece in episode 1 was crazy. Like, they went right in. I was just like, holy crap, this is theater, movie, film quality action set piece right here to start off this series. It was so good. I couldn't believe like how great the cinematography and the intensity of that action set piece was, especially considering Falcon is somebody that I've never been like that attached to. I like him, you know, same with Bucky. I like him, but I've never been that attached to those characters because they just weren't ones that were built up in the same way as a lot of other ones on in the MCU. But man, that action set piece gripped me. And then it went from that to just character drama pretty much throughout the entirety of the first episode. And I was in for it, which surprised me because, like I said, I'm not really attached to these characters. So when it started focusing on Bucky and showing his post-traumatic stress and him trying to make amends, I was just like, oh my God, I feel for this character. I really, really connect and feel with this character. He's got a sad story, and you guys know how I feel about sad stuff. This was like what I wanted. I was like, yes, give me the sadness. Make me feel for this character. But it has some cute stuff too. You know, his date with the girl at the bar, although it ultimately resulted in something sad. It had like just the right amount of like buddy cop humor, but also tenseness between the two of them. Like, it had just the right amount of all of that stuff. Like, I'm in to see these two characters that clearly have amazing chemistry, which is kind of funny, right? It's like, these people should be best friends. I get why they're not, but they should be best friends because the chemistry between Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie is like palpable. It's like the scene where they're in therapy and they like scissor each other. I was like, this is just the best. I love these two. And it almost makes me wish that they went like, just make them gay. And like I just want to see the outcome of that. I want to see how everybody reacts to these two being gay. It would be kind of amazing. I don't think that's going to happen, but I would be for it. I got to be honest with you. I'll be all for it because they've got just such great chemistry, these two on screen. And I'm looking forward to seeing how their relationship develops. And I'm looking forward to seeing them work together and figuring each other out because right now they're just like butting heads in such a great way. And then the end of episode 1 happens. And it shows where the shield actually went. Because I was surprised at the beginning. I was like, oh, wow, Falcon just like gave up the shield. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, it makes sense. It makes sense. And from like a racial perspective, I thought it was really interesting. I don't know what they're going for exactly. And, you know, I'm a white man watching this, so I'm trying to like understand it. But like, I got the vibe that he gave it up because in a large way because he's black. I really do think that. Like, I feel like he didn't know like what is a black Captain America? Like, should I be the one in today's America carrying the shield when I'm black? That's kind of the vibe I got. Not just about like, is he worthy of it? I think that's part of it, but I really do think his race was a big part of why he gave it up. So it going to this blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy at the end, I think all this is intentional. All this makes a lot of sense. And I think John, somebody remind me of his last name, the guy who becomes Captain America, him having like a black sidekick, I think like all that like makes sense. It all kind of is important to what I'm talking about here, where it's almost like his token black guy in a way. It's almost like, hey, I can't be racist. I've got a black friend. It's kind of how it came off to me. Like, I know in the comics that U.S. Agent has some like racist tones to John Walker, right? In this, they haven't gone that route yet. Like, they haven't shown John Walker in the show to have any type of racist like undertones. But and I'm not sure they'll ever go that route, but I do think that they're playing with that a little bit. They're playing with him being oblivious to his white privilege, is what I feel watching this. And you see that a lot too throughout the show, like when they're trying to get a loan at the bank, and him and his sister, like they're black and they're trying to get a loan at the bank. Like they're clearly emphasizing the white privilege of John Walker in this show, in that first episode. Him getting it in the second episode as well, especially. And he's oblivious to it. It doesn't make him a bad person. If he's racist, maybe he's a bad person. But right now, we don't know that he's racist. So it doesn't make him a bad person, but it does make him ignorant and oblivious to his white privilege. And I think it's like a really compelling start. I'm glad they're going that direction. Like, not just the action. Then you got the whole thing with the Flag Smashers, too, and them trying to unite America, which in and of itself isn't bad, right? Like, when you hear that, like it's like, okay, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So what makes them bad? Oh yeah, that definitely, right? Oh, that scene without a doubt. And one thing that I saw somebody mention, and I agree with it, like right after that scene where, you know, he's kind of misprofiled and it's like, oh, I didn't realize you're Falcon, you know, and they were kind of like coming at him a little bit. Again, they weren't coming at him hard, but still, like, you could sense the racial undertones there. But then right after that, in order to get Falcon's attention, John Walker blares the sirens, if I remember right. And it came off almost like insensitive to me. Again, his ignorance and his obliviousness to the difference between the two of them, to what Falcon has to deal with as a black man in comparison to John Walker as a white man. You know, I think that was another emphasis on that. But yeah, the Flag Smashers, I'm very interested in who they are and why they're right now considered to be villains, because uniting America, especially in America that just came back from the blip, where they got a taste for what that would feel like, right? It's like everybody united around this tragedy, sort of like in a Leftovers kind of way, or in a Watchmen kind of way, right? Where Ozymandias creates this crazy tragedy, but it unites the world. It almost feels like the blip did that in the show, and the Flag Smashers don't want to go back to reality where that is lost. And I get that. I think you can definitely empathize with that motivation. They're not playing them off just yet to be full-on villains. And I'm very curious about how they got the super soldier serum. And if John Walker is eventually going to take it for himself, because he can't handle that he can't keep up with them. He can't handle that he's not the Captain America that Steve was. And how that might corrupt him if it were to go that route. Because him getting he got pretty manhandled by the Flag Smashers in that chase scene, which was great. What a great chase scene. He got owned. And I have to say, I was kind of, I thought it was kind of humorous to see him get owned by that. But again, in that scene, they're doing a good job of showing the good sides of John Walker. Him throwing the shield to save his buddy, who I'm drawing a blank on his sort of code name, which is kind of funny. They poke at it. But him throwing the shield and saving his friend, putting himself in danger by not having the shield and then getting punched off. Like, John Walker wants to be a good person, it seems like to me right now. And I think that's good. I'm glad that they're like sort of towing that line where he's not a bad person right now. He's trying to be a good Captain America, but that might be what sends him down a bad path. His desperation to be the best Captain America he can be, to live up to Steve Rogers, could be what his downfall is in this series. A lot of compelling stuff being set up. And then, of course, you know, that scene where they go to talk with Sebastian Stan, with Bucky's clearly not friend, but it's a black man that is a super soldier. And I thought it was a great scene because Falcon in that moment, it's like, hold on a second. I gave up the shield because I'm a black man and I don't feel like I'm worthy of being Captain America. Like, as a black man, I don't feel like I'm worthy. And now you're telling me that there's been a black Captain America all this time in the shadows, given a super soldier serum, pushed to the side. It just further emphasizes almost exactly why Falcon didn't accept the shield in that moment. And I get why Bucky kept it hidden, but I wonder if that's going to be another source of tension between the two of them, that he didn't make it known. Like, I could completely understand Bucky wanted to respect his wishes, like that he wanted to not be known. But yeah, I imagine that could be another problem between the two of them. There's a lot of racial tension there. Not because Bucky's racist. He's not. Bucky is not racist at all. But again, it's just about that white privilege. and him not understanding that. And not realizing that. I think that's all going to come to a head at some point, and I think it's going to be really strong and really great. Don't think it's near WandaVision levels yet, Emma. I think it's too early to say. Right now, in some ways, I think it's better, actually, than WandaVision. It's not as intriguing. It definitely is not as intriguing. I'm not hooked in a mystery kind of way, in the same way I was with WandaVision. But I think the action is so well done. And I think just all the cinematography, the way it's shot is so filmic, so high quality, so theater production level. I'm very impressed by it so far. And I think the focus on the characters and the development and the relationships so far is actually stronger than WandaVision. We'll see. I have to see how it all ends up. But I also like the longer episodes. I'd like the slow burn feel of it a little bit. I think the two go hand in hand really well. I think WandaVision was so fast paced with 25-minute episodes and, ending on cliffhangers, keeping you guessing, adding mysteries. And then you have this, which slows things down and focuses on the characters and the moments and the development and these underlying, racial tones. And like, I think the two go together so nicely. I think it's a great 1-2 punch to start off MCU on streaming services. Falcon is too goofy. I think I need to come back to that. I'm not ready to say that yet. I've never really vibed that much with Falcon because I wasn't sure if I could believe him as somebody that can hold their own just based on having a wingsuit. But he's showing himself to be really impressive from a combat standpoint so far. And so far, I'm believing it. We'll have to wait and see. But following up on their visit to the super soldier, them realizing, okay, we got to go see Zemo now, was a great cliffhanger at episode 2. And as I said, I have not watched episode 3 yet, which we're going to do tonight together on Discord. But I thought that was a great cliffhanger at episode 2. I'm in the same boat I was with WandaVision. If you guys remember, after that first episode reviewing WandaVision, where I was like, how do I feel about this so far? I gave it 4 stars. I'm right there with Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well. Right now, I would give it 4 stars. I think it's a really, really compelling start to this series. And I'm excited to see where it goes. Yeah, I've never really been attached to Zemo in the way that you are, Rick. But I hope that it happens with this series. I think that it might. Guys, let me know what you think of Falcon and the Winter Soldier so far in the chat, please. Poll has been activated. Moving on from that, let us get into our trailers of the month. We got some good ones, you guys. Some real good ones.
You gotta be kidding me. You're gonna risk the entire mission for a mental defective dressed as a court jester.
It's coming from a guy that wears a toilet seat on his head.
We don't leave one of our own behind.
Hopefully Harley's still alive.
No funny business, Colonel. These are dangerous people.
Team 2 is clear to go.
Fire up. 3, 2.
What are you guys doing?
What?
We're here to save you.
You were gonna save me?
It was a really good plan, too.
Well, I can go back inside and you can still do it.
That's patronizing.
I'm so sorry. Harley Quinn.
Blood sport.
You know the deal. Successfully complete the mission, you get 10 years off your sentence. You fail to follow my orders in any way, and I detonate the explosive device in the base of your skull.
So this is the famous Suicide Squad.
Nom nom.
Oh, God. Nom nom.
Any questions?
That sells that so well. I'm saying nom nom.
Yes, that is your hand. Very good.
We're all gonna die.
I hope so.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Here's the deal. We fail the mission, you die.
If we find out any information you give us is false, you die.
If we find out you have personalized license plates, you die.
What? No.
If you cough without covering your mouth.
Harley, although that isn't an open invitation for you to cough without covering your mouth.
What's the plan?
How the hell am I supposed to know?
You're the leader. You're supposed to be decisive.
And I've decided that you should eat a big bag of dicks.
If this whole beach was completely covered in dicks, and somebody said I'd eat every dick until the beach was clean for liberty, I would say no problemo.
Why would someone put penises all over the beach?
Who knows why madmen do what they do?
This is suicide.
Well, that's kind of our thing.
Don't you worry, eh? I'm gonna get you out of here alive.
I'm going to get you out of here alive.
Oh my God! We've got a freaking kaiju up in this shit!
Got a kaiju.
We love the rain. It's like angels are splooching all over us.
That's the one thing. The bag of dicks joke and the splooge joke, I don't know. Maybe I've outgrown that humor a little bit. It's a little too juvenile for me. I don't know. It didn't. Those didn't quite work for me. Maybe in the moment they'll work, but in the trailer, it was a little too juvenile for me. Maybe. And I know this is James Gunn. It's gonna be juvenile, but everything else, I mean, it's an improvement, right, guys? I feel like it's without a doubt an improvement over David Ayer's Suicide Squad. I feel like the way it's shot, the performances, everything's sort of just gelling together in a much better way. The splooge line killed me. I'll take some juvenile humor. That's fine. That's just me. That's just a me thing. 100% a me thing. The splooge sold me. I'm excited for Shark Groot and Bag of Dicks Drax. So what worked for me, as I just said, is the nom nom for some reason. I don't know why. That was just like the best for me. I loved, what the hell's his name? Shark. What the hell's his name? I forget. That, and it being Sylvester Stallone, that sold me. Him raising his hand, just going, hand. Like, that sold me. Yes, and the shark ripping the dude in half. How graphic that was. And also just a great visual there. Those are the moments that sold me. There was a lot of great humor in this, though. Don't get me wrong. Some, like, subtle humor. I guess I'm, like more on-the-nose humor for me in this trailer didn't work, like the bag of dicks and the splooge, because it was so on-the-nose and juvenile. But the more, like, subtle humor that you don't laugh out loud at, but you just kind of, like, chuckle at, like, that was clever. I appreciate that sensible chuckle. Like, those moments are what work for me in this trailer. I'm excited. And this is HBO Max as well. Another HBO Max movie. So I will definitely watch this. Oi, I'm 61 and you never grow out of those jokes. There you go. I'm alone and that's totally okay. That is totally okay. I'm fine being alone on this one. But anyway, let's move on to our second trailer here. Let me fast forward. Try and keep this moving here. Our second trailer of the month. Another good one. Check it out.
Basketball camp is next weekend. You got amazing potential on the court, and I can help you get there.
That's not what I want, Dad. You never let me do what I want to do. You never let me just do me.
Hold up. Wrong floor. Bet Will Smith ain't got to deal with this.
Dad!
Down! What in the Matrix hell?
Welcome to the space.
Oh man!
Welcome, King James. I am the king of this domain. This is the serververse.
What'd you do to my son? Where's Dom?
The only way you're getting your son back is if you and I play a little basketball. Pete, send this clown to the rejects.
Wait. What is this? I'm a cartoon?
What's up, Doc?
I need to assemble an elite team to help get my son back.
I know what you're looking for. A dream team. Mom, shoot the ball.
They used that joke in the first one. I'm almost positive.
King James. Welcome to the Space Jam.
Go full Ready Player One, you guys.
Introducing the Goon Squad.
You gotta win this game.
Let's end this.
Got you, Kron.
And get our son back.
Yikes. Classic.
Welcome to the Space Jam.
I'm going old school on his butt.
Whoa.
Welcome to the Space Jam.
All right. So let's get it out of the way. Yes, LeBron James is not a great actor because he's not an actor. He's a basketball player. But I don't know how recently you've watched Space Jam. Michael Jordan was god-awful, and what's in this trailer is better than Michael Jordan as far as acting goes. I think we've got some crazy rose-tinted glasses when it comes to Space Jam. That movie is not good, you guys. Watch it now. We all enjoyed it when we were kids. We thought it was fun. That movie's not good. It is terrible acting, just, upper management's, orgy of intellectual property in the same way this is. This is no different in like how it's an orgy of intellectual property. Now they're obviously taking it further though with this one. They're going full on Ready Player One. Like I'll pause it at moments here. I'm going to bring it full screen again. And I'm going to start pausing it because there is a lot of properties being thrown in here. And the only reason I can imagine they're doing it at this point is because Looney Tunes is not what it used to be for children. I mean, do kids even watch Looney Tunes anymore? No, they're on YouTube. They don't know Looney Tunes. I think what WB is hoping for is that us, the parents with rose-tinted glasses that loved Space Jam as a child, bring our kids to see this, hoping that they'll like it because we did. And then they're going to try and hook those kids by throwing them and bombarding them with so many different properties that they might know of, not just Looney Tunes. Because look, we got Scooby-Doo there for a moment. We got Iron Giants, just like Ready Player One. I'm going to keep pausing it here. We got Game of Thrones. That's Drogon from Game of Thrones. You got Yogi Bear right there. You got Thundercats. If you look right behind that, that's Thundercats. Right behind that, you got that shark. I can't remember what the shark's name is. Flintstones, obviously. Jetsons. There's Jetsons. Kong. There's King Kong. Right here, that is Pennywise back there. You got the Wizard of Oz monkey thing. You got Morpheus back there. That's Mr. Freeze. That was, hold on a sec. That was Mr. Freeze, you guys. The movie we should have been watching tonight. Really, it went back that far? Hold on. See if I can pause it at the right moment so we can see Mr. Freeze. There it is. That's Mr. Freeze. We got Mr. Freeze in there. Pennywise. Who else we got? In the background here, I know they got Clockwork Orange back there, which is kind of crazy. These are like actual models of real athletes here, which I thought was kind of cool. I don't know them. I know like Clay, whatever his name is part of that. Let's see. Anybody else that we can pinpoint here? Oh, I know Animaniacs are in it. There's the water pit tower back there. Animaniacs is in it. Space Ghost is up there. You guys see Space Ghost upper left. Thank you so much for the gifted sub. And yeah, Mr. Anderson. Thank you, Karen. I forgot to say Mr. Anderson was in there. Hold on. Here we go. Let's pause it here. Anything? I'm not sure. I'm not seeing anything in particular on this one. What about here? Oh, we got Penguin. Look at that. You got Mask over there. You got old Penguin, like 50s Penguin. You got 90s Penguin over there, Mr. Anderson. Who else? There's another Joker right in the back there. That's Heath Ledger's Joker back there. I'm sure Neo is going to be in here somewhere because I've seen Morpheus. I've seen Mr. Anderson. You got Scooby-Doo up there on the left. And there's other ones that I'm forgetting to even mention, but there are other ones too. Clockwork Orange, which is so bizarre. It's a lot. It's just a whole bunch of intellectual properties all jammed together. Pun intended. Cyberspace jam. But, I mean, it looks like it could be fun. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We do have one more trailer reaction, you guys. And somebody guessed it. I have not watched this yet. This is my first time.
I've lived a lot of lives. Before I was an Avenger. Before I got this family. I made mistakes. Choosing between what the world wants you to be. And who you are.
And yes, Age of Smith. That's what
We have to go back to where it all started.
Where did you think I was all this time?
We have unfinished business.
My girls are the toughest girls in the world.
I'm sorry. We had our orders and we played our rules.
It wasn't real.
It was real to me. To me, you were everything.
Bring her home.
Put your seatbelts on. She's such a mom.
One thing's for sure. I'm done running from my past.
Oh, they got the Avengers theme in there. That's cool. That looks pretty cool, you guys. Action at the end especially was great. I'm feeling this kind of movie that focuses on just like hand-to-hand, like CQC combat. Hopefully a lot of practical set pieces and great chase scenes. I feel like we haven't gotten that in a major way since Winter Soldier. That's the last time I can think of a film that felt like this from the MCU. Although Falcon and Winter Soldier feels like it as well. But from the movies, I feel like the last time we felt something of this nature was Captain America: Winter Soldier. I'm in for that kind of vibe, that kind of action. And I'm really intrigued by Taskmaster. I think it's a woman myself. I just get that vibe physically from the movements. It just feels like there's a woman in that suit. Would that be going against the comics for them to do that? I feel like it's definitely a woman as Taskmaster. Is there any way that they bring Black Widow back permanently? Is that possible at this point? Or do we feel like that's like off the table now? It's just weird to get a movie with her after she died. It would go against the comics. Do you think it's possible, Rick? That's what I think. I think it's Rachel Weisz. Is that too obvious a twist? But that's what I feel like. I feel like it's Rachel Weisz. Go to a shot of the mask being revealed. Looks like a woman behind it. Yeah, it really feels like that to me. And I do think it's gonna be Rachel Weisz. I can't say that for some reason. Rachel Weisz. Which would in a way be a bummer just because I feel like I guessed it already if that turns out to be true, but she's gonna come back in Loki, We shall see, I guess. That was a good trailer, though. That was better than the first Black Widow trailer. And we have a little bit more to talk about with Black Widow during our top stories of the month. But right now, let us move on to our user interactive segment you guys can utilize on our Discord. Of course, it is called In the Spotlight. Get on our Discord. Submit your hard-hitting questions on the hashtag In the Spotlight channel so that I can answer them live on the show. This one comes in from the Miss Mel, and she asked, with lots of Disney live-action movies being made, which animated movie or show, not Disney, from your childhood, would you be interested in seeing made into a live-action film? It's a great question. My mind, of course, did go immediately to Disney. Like, I wanted to think of Disney properties, but I will abide by your rules and not say anything Disney. The first one that actually came to my mind, we talked about it a little bit earlier tonight, is The Iron Giant. The Iron Giant is a great animated movie. Like, really great. Like, up there with Disney animated movies. But the one thing I will say about it is it never really felt like it needed to be animated. I feel like that would be a great period piece movie to do. And, you know, The Iron Giant either way is going to be CGI, right? But I feel like The Iron Giant would be a fantastic live action film. And get Brad Bird back to do it, please. Get Brad Bird in to do The Iron Giant. So that's the first one that comes to mind. The next one that comes to mind, going to TV series, is Gargoyles. Gargoyles is like this really badass property that was so much different, really, than anything else on kids' TV at the time for me. And again, what I think works about it is the Gargoyles would clearly be like a mixture of CGI and practical effects. So that's fine. Like, you know, you keep them that way, but there's really no reason anything else in that needs to be animated. Like, that's not a show that worked because it was animated. That's what you have to try and think of with a question like this. Like, what is a property that doesn't work because it's animated? And I think those two would do pretty well. Another one that came to mind, I think, is sort of even more pertinent now than when it came out in the 90s. And the reason I especially thought of this film is because I thought the villain was really great in it. Fern Gully. You guys remember Fern Gully? But I really liked the sludge villain in that. I thought he was, granted I was a little kid, but I thought he was really scary. I thought the visual of him was really impactful. Like how there was like sort of this skeleton inside of it and like how it set on fire and was surrounded with this oil and sludge. But again, what works with Fern Gully is you can do the fairies as real human beings. Just, you know, use the great cinematics and perspective and all that kind of stuff to make them look small. And everything else is just human beings, right? You do have, of course, the creatures of the forest and all that. So you do have some of that CGI animation, which, you know, stays animated in that way. But a lot of it is a human being in this world, interacting with all these creatures and these fairies. And I think it could work pretty well, actually. Krista is, I agree. I would like to see Krista in live action. Who would play Krista, do you think, Mel? Let's do a little casting call here. Who plays Krista in the Fern Gully live action remake? And the last one that I went to is, since I couldn't technically do Disney, I felt that Studio Ghibli is on the table. And I was like, okay, going through the entire Studio Ghibli catalog, what is the one Studio Ghibli film that isn't elevated by the fact that it's animation? Like, Spirited Away, I don't think is a good choice. I think Spirited Away works so well because it is animation. Howl's Moving Castle, that needs to be animated. One that does not need to be animated, and in a lot of ways, even though there is a real fantasy mystical element to it, one of the films that is more grounded in a lot of ways and more human in a lot of ways is Princess Mononoke. I feel like Princess Mononoke could be this Star Wars level epic. You know, this Star Wars level hero tale. Like imagine having that gigantic wolf, you know, and imagine having the spirit of the forest. But everything else really in that is relatively grounded, right? You have like the tentacle monster and all that, but like think of everything else in that. It's you could do that in live action, just with a great you know, location chosen. Anastasia was on my mind. I thought of Anastasia, but that was one that I feel like, I don't know, I like it as animated. I that's one that I like more staying as animated myself. Give me scary Rasputin. Here's the thing about Anastasia too, is I really liked it. I remember at the time thinking it was a Disney movie, even though it is not a Disney movie. I thought it was a Disney movie. And it does have some really great music. It does. Now that I've watched it again more recently, and I do realize now that it doesn't stand against the high quality Disney stuff, but still a solid movie with some really great animation, some good set pieces, some great music. I could see why you would go in that direction, Mel, but I think I would like it better staying animated. Titan AE is a pretty good choice, actually. Jose. Fern Gully, I said, Kurt. Yep. Fern Gully was one of my picks. Here are the four that I said. I said The Iron Giant, Fern Gully, Gargoyles, and Princess Mononoke. Those were the four that came to mind. Oh God, no. Grave of the Fireflies. I don't know if I could. That movie already destroyed me. Like, I still have post-traumatic stress from Grave of the Fireflies. I don't know if I could see that movie in live action. Like, like forcing me to connect even stronger with those characters potentially through real people, real performances. Oh my God, I don't know if I could handle that. Watching that, do I want to spoil it? I don't want to spoil it, I guess. But that little girl, oh my God, I could not. Having two daughters now, I have not watched Grave of the Fireflies in probably 15 years, 12, 15 years. Like in that range. I have not watched it since I saw it that first time. I could not watch it again, I don't think. But the thought of watching Grave of the Fireflies now as an adult, a parent with two daughters, if you want to see something that would make me cry on stream, I would fall apart to pieces if I watched that movie. I do think that it's a movie everybody should watch, though. One time. Everybody should watch Grave of the Fireflies one time. I prefer animated to live action almost every time. I think it's rare that something starts as animation and then goes to live action and is better as live action. I would agree with that. I don't prefer animation to live action, but I do think in these instances so far in history of the conversion happening, that it has not fared in the live action's favor. But I would like to see that change. Anyway, guys, let us go to a commercial break. You guys can watch a trailer. When we get back, we're going to get into our top stories of the month before heading over to Discord for our watch along. So hold on tight, Jose. We will be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 4 of the Lights Up Show, our movies and television talk show, live on the first Saturday of every month. Make sure you never miss an episode by following here at twitch.tv/levelupshow and turning on notifications. If you're watching the archive on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell to get alerts for future video uploads. And of course, become a part of this community even when we are not live on Discord at discord.gg/the-level-up-network. Following the show tonight, we will be doing a live watch along of Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 3 before moving into B movie. That's right, I said it. B movie. Going back to the chat here, following up on the Fern Gully casting for Krista, Zooey Deschanel, I think she would have been amazing about 10 years ago. I think that I would go with somebody younger at this point. But I do think at that time, like at the beginning of New Girl, when New Girl first started, she would have been perfect. Yeah, that would have been a great choice. That is the one. Also, guys, don't forget, we are working towards tip goal and big goal. I think now is a good time to talk about it, considering it's for movie watch-alongs. Our tip goal, stretch goal, which expires on May 1st, is for a live watch-along, drunk watch-along of the entirety of the Star Wars prequel trilogy. It'll be a 3-month-long event. If we can hit that before May 1st. And on the other end, on the bit goal, which is also a stretch goal, expiring May 1st, if we hit that, we will be doing a live watch along of the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy extended edition over a 3-month event. So we got some great stuff to work for. We've had 3 subs so far tonight. They've come in from Trooper, Jose, and Trooper also gifted a sub to GPV, which is amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it. See if we can maybe hit some of our goals tonight. But most importantly, we haven't had any follows yet. We got 22 people in the room. Hit that follow button here at twitch.tv/TheLevelUp Show. As I already said, turn on notifications, become a part of this show. Come back every month for Next Level Games Cast, our gaming talk show, and for Lights Up, our movies and television talk show, as well as all the variety game streams we do on this channel. I'm on 2 times a week, every week, you guys. We love all of you being here, lurking, chatting, whatever you're doing. We love all you. Let's move on to our top stories of the month. Nothing too crazy this time, and we're going to try and move through this pretty quickly. Starting off at number 6 here, and I actually added a number 7, which we'll talk about later, but Ace Ventura 3 has been confirmed with Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is returning as Ace Ventura and is from the Sonic the Hedgehog writers. So clearly they formed a good relationship with him working on that movie together. And now we're getting another one. That is all we know, though. Like, we have no idea what this is going to be about. Like, how are they going to bring him back in? I never would have expected this. Exactly, Kurt, exactly. What I will say is all the times that we've had like revivals of great like 90s comedies, Dumb and Dumber, Zoolander, now Pet Detective, it's not looking good. Like, there isn't a good history when it comes to revivals of those great 90s comedies. Something is just lost in the age, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't work. Did you like Dumb and Dumber 2? Mel, did you like Zoolander 2? Even Anchorman, for that matter. Even Anchorman, the second Anchorman did not really work for me. Something was just lost in that time gap. And I have a feeling this is going to be the same. I do not expect this to be good. I hate to say it. It hurts me so much to say it. But Jim Carrey is not the comedic presence he used to be. They made me sad, actually. Exactly, Mel. I would agree 100%. They made me sad. Because Jim Carrey is not the comedic presence that he used to be. Anyway, moving on to number 5. This one also shocked me. Thundercats will become a movie, you guys. It has been confirmed. And Adam Wingard, who directed Godzilla vs. Kong, will be directing Thundercats. He said, quote, "Thundercats is a dream project for me. Nobody on this planet knows or has thought as much about Thundercats as I have. They gave me the reins. I saw this as an opportunity to do a new type of fantasy sci-fi spectacle film that people have never seen before." This is as risky as it gets, you guys. I think Cats last year proves it. I just I don't know how you do this. How you do humanoid cats and not have it be creepy or sexualized or whatever. I just don't know how you do it. I'm not expecting this to work. Exactly, Mel. Exactly. They have a major uphill battle ahead of them to try and make this work and not be creepy and cringy. I can picture it now, and they look so ugly. I know. Fairies are going to love it. Fairies are going to absolutely love it. But everybody else, I can't see it working. I think there's going to be another Cats the Musical disaster, unfortunately. I don't want that to be the case. Unless, I mean, they actually didn't say that this is going to be live action, but I assume it's going to be live action. In the quote, in the reveal or announcement of the story, I don't think anywhere it actually says that it's live action. But I mean, why would they ever do an animated film for Thundercats at this point? This I thought was actually pretty solid from an animation standpoint. The 2011 Thundercats I thought looked pretty cool. Some of the better animation I've seen in television from then to now. All right. Anyway, moving on from that, we got another movie announced. Ghost of Tsushima will be getting a live action adaptation, you guys. Let me fast forward here. Ghost of Tsushima, of course, an absolutely massive success this past year for PlayStation. And the movie, they've already decided who their director will be. And it is Chad Stahelski, who is best known for John Wick. He's directed a few of the John Wick movies. And I mean, that's a solid grab. That is a very solid grab. He's got a great action direction. According to a new report with Deadline, Stahelski will work alongside producers Alex Young and Jason Spitz with their company 8711 Entertainment. Peter Kang of game developer Sucker Punch Productions will also oversee the project on behalf of the studio, which will serve as executive producers. I can pick you can't get it wrong. It's perfect. I think this is a good choice for PlayStation Productions. It's ambitious, but at the same time, I don't think it needs a massive budget. It's a samurai film. You could have like some really great action war set pieces, but I don't think it needs to be, massive CGI fare. The budget's going to come from the amount of people on screen, the location, all of that. The production around these massive battles is going to be where the budget goes. But I do think they could still do it, on a relatively strict budget and find success. So it's really going to be all about telling a great story. I love, for example, The Last Samurai. I've never really gotten into the Akira Kurosawa movies. I really would like to. I have not watched those classic samurai films, but I love The Last Samurai, warts and all. So, I mean, it just shows to me that I can get behind, this kind of film. I love the culture. I love seeing the location and all of that. So this is a good choice. I'm looking forward to this. Even though the game did not really grab me in the way that I wanted, I am 100% looking forward to this one. Moving on from that. Fast forward here. We're going to go to MCU in review. I figured, let's combine all of the MCU stories from the week into one story or month. First up, we got Thor on screen because Love and Thunder has added another great actor to the list. Russell Crowe has joined the cast. We don't know who he's going to be. Excuse me, but he is one of several celebrities playing small roles in the sequel. Love and Thunder is reportedly bringing back Matt Damon, Sam Neill, and Luke Hemsworth, who are again playing dramatized versions of Loki, Odin, and Thor, respectively. And Melissa McCarthy is also said to be joining the trio as Foe Hela. So a lot of people are assuming that maybe Russell Crowe will also be playing sort of a comedic cameo role in this one. And I'm fine with that. I think it'd be even cooler if he's a larger role, but if he's just some cameo in another theater production, I'll laugh at that. Moving on from that, we saw Black Widow's trailer tonight. Its new trailer. It's been confirmed this week that finally it has a release date of July 9th, but that's not all. They have abandoned their commitments and promise of theater only and admitted that it will go to Disney Plus as Premier Access. That means that it will cost you $30 like Raya and the Last Dragon did, but you will be able to watch Black Widow on July 9th through Premier Access. How do we feel about that? After all this time of them pushing and pushing and pushing and delaying over and over again, promising that it would go theaters only, how do we feel about them giving in and saying, okay, Disney Plus? I don't really care. It's weird to imagine MCU not in theaters, but if there was one that I could imagine not in theaters, it's something like this or Shang-Chi, right? I could not imagine Endgame at home and not in theater. I couldn't imagine Spider-Man at home and not in theaters. But Shang-Chi, Black Widow makes a little bit more sense. Shang-Chi is another one that got delayed. It was supposed to come out in July, but now that Black Widow is coming out in July, Shang-Chi has been pushed to September 3rd. So there's really been nothing about that, though. There's no hype. There's no teasers. There's no images. When are they going to start the hype train for that one? It really isn't that far away. It's 5 months away. I feel like they need to start getting us a little bit hyped for Shang-Chi. Feige talked about some rumors these past couple weeks. Chris Evans has been rumored to return as Captain America, and he kind of denied that rumor on Twitter, saying something like, "First I've heard about it," or something like that. But Feige has doubled down on that. He said, "I rarely answer no to anything anymore because things are always surprising me with what happens." But that rumor, I think, was dispelled rather quickly by the man himself, meaning Chris Evans. So I think we can put that rumor to bed. We will not be seeing Chris Evans return as Captain America. And finally, this isn't like entirely MCU related, but I thought it was kind of amusing. Avatar has overtaken Endgame as the highest grossing movie of all time. Once again, Avatar had it, Endgame took it, and now Avatar took it back because there was a re-release of Avatar in China. So Avatar is now once again the highest grossing movie of all time at the box office, at least until they re-release Endgame. And that climbs to first place. I think it's hilarious that Disney has the 1-2 of all time, and they're just going back and forth. It's like, Avatar's got it. Oh no, let's give it back to Endgame. Oh, let's give it back to Avatar. Yeah, I know, exactly, Rick. It won't last. But Avatar is now, once again, the highest grossing movie of all time. There you go. We're moving. I'm trying to go as fast as I can here so that we have time for the watch-alongs, since we added on Falcon and Winter Soldier. Fast forward here. Moving on to our number 2 story. Same thing. Let's do DC EU in review. Avatar is not horrible. Avatar is a great movie, I would say. It's not like a masterpiece, but I think it's a great visual film, a lot of fun, great adventure. I think Avatar is a great film. DCU in review. Rumor! And this goes back to King Kurt stepping on my toes earlier. There's a rumor going around, this came from Collider, that DC is giving the connected universe another shot following up on the success of Snyder cut Justice League. So, according to Collider, The Flash will be the start of it. They're going to have Michael Keaton in there. They're going to have, of course, Ben Affleck as Batman. And I don't know if you guys saw, but Ben Affleck recently talked about how much he liked Snyder Cut's version of Justice League, and now he's like kind of back on board with the DCU as a result of Snyder's Cut. So there's rumors going around that this has jump-started the connective universe again. And they're going to sort of explain away, exactly, Flashpoint. They're going to explain away Robert Pattinson's Batman through Flashpoint as well by showing that as Earth 2 Batman. So take it with a grain of salt. Collider is not a nobody website. They're a solid website, and they are reporting that it's going to be given another shot. So it's not over yet, you guys. They might still be trying to catch up to the MCU. I think that they need to do it very differently. They're not going to be able to catch MCU doing what they're doing now. Just like throwing shit at the board. They got to do a lot more planning. They need to sit down and really plan out a trajectory to figure out how this is all going to work as a universe. Moving on from that, Black Adam has a release date confirmed. July 29th, 2022. July of 2022 for Black Adam. And we have some casting for it as well. Pierce Brosnan has been cast as Dr. Fate in Black Adam. I don't know a lot about Dr. Fate besides that his helmet kind of gives him sorcery powers. Somebody might be able to correct me if I'm wrong on that. I do like Pierce Brosnan a whole lot. He hasn't been attached to any superhero fare as far as I know, but he's obviously no version to blockbuster movies, being James Bond at one point. I think it's an inspired choice myself. Dr. Fate is a cool choice for him. And another casting announcement that Helen Mirren, Dame Helen Mirren, has been cast in Shazam! Fury of the Gods as a villain. She will play Hespera, the sister to Rachel Zegler's character, and daughter to Atlas, who does appear in the comics. Now, in the comics, I think Atlas has daughters that are like nymphs. So maybe Hespera and Rachel Zegler's character will play sister nymphs. But new character created for this. So just another casting announcement there. And along with the Collider rumor, they were saying that Shazam will be somehow merged into this universe in a way. Through Flashpoint or otherwise, that they're going to somehow connect it all and make it feel cohesive, like the MCU in some way. DC already established it's a multiverse. Yes, in some capacity they have, but they're obviously going to take that much further with Flashpoint, and that'll be their moment to really try to explain away the confusion that a lot of people feel about Heath Ledger as Joker and Jared Leto as Joker and Ben Affleck as Batman and Robert Pattinson as Batman. Like they're going to have to do some work to get people on board with this multiverse and them doing both of them simultaneously. It's amazing how much less I care about DC news. I know, I get it. I really do. Moving on from that, let's go to the number one story of the month before I add on a final story. Fast forward here. Lion. The number one story of the month outside of the additional story. Obi-Wan Kenobi has officially started production in April, and we have the full cast. Oh, I guess you could call it the full cast. Major portion of the cast confirmed as up on screen. We have Ewan McGregor, of course, as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hayden Christensen returning as Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. You've got Joel Edgerton returning, as well as Bonnie Piesse returning as Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. I think that's really cool that they got them back. Of course, in the prequel trilogy, they were the uncle and aunts, and they got them back. I think that's a nice consistency there. Nice continuity, I feel, from that. I really appreciate it. Kumail Nanjiani in an unknown role. You got Sung Kang. He's Han in Fast and the Furious. You'll see him up on screen there. You might recognize him from that. He is playing an unknown role. Moses Ingram from The Queen's Gambit. She was the friend of the main character in that. That was the first thing I've ever seen her in. She's up on screen there, Moses Ingram. She has been cast in an unknown role. O'Shea Jackson Jr., who is actually Ice Cube's son. He has been cast in an unknown role. You've got Rupert Friend. I best know him as Agent 47. Not in the first Hitman movie, but the second Hitman movie. He was Agent 47. He's in an unknown role. Simone Kessel. I don't actually know her from anything, but she has been cast in an unknown role. And then this one is really weird. Yeah, I could see that. The voice, right? Kumail Nanjiani as a droid, I could really see. But Benny Safdie, bottom right there, has been cast in an unknown role. What's weird about that is he is the brother of Josh Safdie, and they are the duo writers and directors behind Good Time and Uncut Gems. And I think that he might have some type of influence from a writing, directing, production standpoint as well on Obi-Wan Kenobi. So Benny Safdie is attached to this whole thing, which is kind of weird and cool. This, I have to say, I'm getting really excited for this. I understand that it's probably going to retcon a lot of things, and it's going to be like sort of fan servicey in a way some people, turn their head at. But I'm really excited to see Hayden Christensen back on screen. I think it'd be really cool if they do flashbacks of him prior to being Darth Vader, maybe him with Ahsoka. I want to see him as Anakin in a non-George Lucas production. I want to see Hayden Christensen show off the actor that he can be. And I'm not saying he's an amazing actor, but he's a solid actor. I've seen him be a solid actor. Most people will bring up Shattered Glass. I will as well. Shattered Glass shows that Hayden Christensen can be a good actor. And I want to see his potential, finally. I want to see him together with Ewan McGregor, their relationship, their chemistry, with better writing and better direction. I think there's a lot of potential here. I really do. And it's great that it started production. It's happening. This is a real thing. They're finally doing it. Right. Like, he deserves a second chance. He deserves to get out of that negative spotlight that he's been in for such a long time. Now, if only Jake Lloyd could also get his redemption. But unfortunately, that will probably never happen. I feel bad for Jake Lloyd. I feel bad for the guy that played Jar Jar. I kind of wish they could get redemption as well. But it has been confirmed that Jar Jar Binks will not be a part of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So we can put that away. I'm still hoping for Metal Legs Darth Maul in live action. Would have been good in Obi-Wan show. That's a possibility, Steve. Yeah, that could work. There's a lot that could work in this. A lot of things that they can bring together in this from that sort of extended universe. I know it's not extended, it's canon, but they could kind of bring a lot of those elements into this for people that have not, watched the Clone Wars and things like that. Yeah, Shattered Glass is based on a true story. It's about somebody that worked, I can't remember which newspaper it was for, but Hayden Christensen plays the journalist or reporter, whatever you want to call him. And he got way in over his head when he started fabricating stories for the newspaper. He started off small with him just kind of doing tiny lies. And then he started fabricating massive, groundbreaking stories that people believed. Like him going to locations that he never went to, making up complete lies. Like, fantastical lies and stories. And he just kept digging himself deeper and deeper and deeper, this person, the real life person. And Hayden Christensen plays the role really well of this person way in over their head, and the anxiety that person feels as they continue to get buried deeper and deeper. Shattered Glass kind of represents that glass breaking, like it's eventually going to hit that breaking point. It's an anxiety inducing movie, but watching his breakdown throughout it, his downfall and his breakdown is a kind of fascinating watch, and he's good in it. He really is. I would recommend watching it. If you want to see Hayden Christensen in a role that shows that he can act, watch Shattered Glass. And that is the top stories of the month, but I'm going to add one more onto this here. Story that just came out yesterday, I think, maybe 2 days ago. But George R.R. Martin has struck a deal with HBO, a 5-year deal that's 10 figures, guys, 10 number figure. He's making somewhere in the range of $10 million to $99 million for this 5-year deal he has struck with HBO. Now, this massive deal will be to develop more programming for the network and its streaming service, HBO Max. Sources say Martin's contract spans 5 years, and it is worth mid eight, so somewhere like in the $50 million range. The news comes on the heels of a surge of Game of Thrones prequels being put into development. All told, the network has 5 projects based on Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire fantasy world in development. A stage, and one of them, House of the Dragon, that's been greenlit to series. We're also hearing about the animated series. We talked about that on a past episode. The 4-time Emmy winner is also developing for HBO the series Who Fears Death, an adaptation of Nnedi Okorafor's award-winning 2011 post-apocalyptic novel, and Road Marks, an adaptation of Roger Zelazny's 1979 fantasy novel, both of which he will executive produce. When I first saw this, exactly what Rich, I said, why do I keep calling you Rich? Exactly what I thought, Rick, when I read this is, holy shit. This guy is never finishing the books before he dies. It's over. Give it up. This guy has moved on. He is never finishing these books. I think it's clear where his priorities lie now. He enjoys, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. He enjoys adaptations for movies and TV more than he enjoys writing the books now. And it's a sad thing. I really do feel for the book readers that want to see his version completed. But I think that they need to wrap their minds around the potential outcome that it's never going to happen under his penmanship. ghost writers, or after he dies, somebody coming in, stepping in to finish it for him, is becoming a more likely reality. Crazily so. But it's kind of crazy how much they're tripling down on Game of Thrones. So much less work is so rewarding. Yeah, you can't forget he's also working on video games now too, like Elden Ring. He clearly has more excitement in those areas now. And that is the show, ladies and gentlemen. That is Lights Up episode 4. Poor book nerds is right. Thank you so much for watching. We got 22 people in the room. To any of you that are new here, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I will be back again next month on the first Saturday for Lights Up episode 5. Got a great show here. Hope you think so as well. Hit that follow button. Become a part of this community. You can do it on Discord as well at discord.gg/levelupnetwork. Become a part of the community when I'm not live. Following up Lights Up on Discord, we do live watch-alongs tonight. We are going to do Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 3, followed up by B-Movie. Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be just a normal watch-along, but B-Movie will be a drunk watch-along with potential for tip rewind, as usual for drunk watch-alongs. So look forward to that. But in general, just get on our Discord either way. Even if you're not into that kind of thing, get on our Discord. And if you want to go above and beyond, of course, we do appreciate it very much. The subs, the tips, the cheers. There you go. The biddies going towards that bit stretch goal. Lord of the Rings live watch along. There you go as well. Duroc coming in with 188 biddies. Thank you so much, Duroc. Going towards that bit stretch goal. You guys are amazing. I appreciate it so much. Let us go to a wrap up here with another movie trailer for you guys to watch before I get set up for our live watch along. But again, thank you so much for watching. This archive will be on YouTube as well at youtube.com/levelupnetwork, so you can check it out there if you would like. But I hope to see you next time. Until then, take care. And as always, don't forget to level up, everybody.